Anywhere you go, you belong.
Hi, my lovely. I don't know where to start today, honestly. It's actually a stunningly gorgeous day here in Paris, and it's like full on spring. But I have to be honest that this last month has been a real struggle with health. Not because there's anything serious going on, but I have been in a pretty extreme battle with sugar. And that language actually at the moment seems really weird to use because there is actually a battle going on. There's a fucking war going on at the moment with the Russian invasion of the Ukraine. And I did not expect to be talking about this topic at all, but I'm going to roll with it because I think one of the realities when you're living in Europe is that things are closer, other countries are closer, and that may seem obvious, but the impact is felt. I have friends, I have colleagues who are from the Ukraine, whose whole families are still there right now, and I am frequently reminded that as an American, we are so far removed from life on the battlefield. We have been very fortunate to not have wars on our territory, and yet our language is full of war terminology and violent terminology, which is kind of ironic. So I want to talk about my battle with sugar, but I actually am going to try to refrain from using the word battle and all of those sort of war-mongering terms. I walked into this year on a roll. I was feeling really good about myself. I was feeling really good about my objectives for the year, and I had picked up some habits at the end of last year that I was able to maintain, and my stress levels were low, and I was getting exercise, and I was eating fairly well, and everything seemed to be chugging along. And then something happened. I use food to repress emotion, like a lot of people. And in fact, there are so many ways to run away from emotions. You can run away from them with food, as I do, with sugar, as I do, because it just numbs me out. You can run away from emotions with television and Netflix or video games. You can run away from emotion with alcohol. You can run away from emotion with sex. You can run away from emotion with work. You can run away from emotion with pretty much anything. And those are the church bells, bringing it back to now. So you can run away from your emotions, but they have this really annoying tendency to just stick around, like to hide in the corner while you think you're all numbed out and you think you've vanquished them, and they're just sitting there waiting to pop up again when you let your guard down and you become vulnerable again. So I have been doing my damnedest for about the last 6 weeks to avoid my emotions, and as a result, because they don't go away, they just get stronger and bigger and emotions pile up, I was having to add more and more sugar and watch more and more Netflix, and suddenly the exercise fell away, and all of my good habits that I had granted only acquired for a very short amount of time disappeared. And I had a session with my nutritionist last week when I went for my weigh-in. When I told her that I had not been following any sort of healthy eating plan and that I had had a few binges with sugar, she basically looked at me straight in the face and said, you have two options. You can either continue to do this, die young, continue to gain weight, and be miserable and have a foggy head and be irritable and all those things, or you can fucking stop, get your shit together, and just don't eat sugar for 12 days. And when somebody says that to you, I wish I could say that it was a wake-up call. I wish I could say that I walked out the door and the veil was lifted and immediately I stepped on the right path. But I didn't. The truth is that bad habits are really hard to break. Good habits, super easy to break, unfortunately. It's like karma, something annoying. My mind is not comfortable with emotion. And my mind is controlling the show. I'm still not changing my behavior. I get resentful. Also because, and here's an excuse, I live in Paris. I live in a place that has the most beautiful pastries and the most scrumptious bread on the planet. And the idea of having to do without, the idea of being deprived from that, gets me so, like, I turn into a 3-year-old child whose favorite toy or favorite blanket has been stolen. Like, I just get this full body feeling of terror and anxiety and like, how dare you? I probably should not publish this because this makes me sound like a crazy person. I walked out of the nutritionist's office and it was the middle of the day. So I said, okay, tomorrow morning, that's it. 12 days, it's only 12 days with no sugar. I can do this. Do you want to just take a guess as to what happened the next day? I can't remember what I ate even. I think it was a croissant because I was having coffee with a friend for breakfast. It's crazy making. Particularly when you know what you need to do. I'm sharing this, A, to be transparent about the reality behind the curtain, and B, to let you know that if you find yourself in a similar situation where the outside world and your internal world are not in sync, just remember that you're not alone. And I say this for myself as well, and it gets better. And every day there's another chance. And there is so much to be grateful for, particularly at a time like this in the world. And really any time in the world, because even though the headlines today are all about the Ukraine and we're reacting as if this never happens, invasions have been happening in Africa and the Middle East for decades. They just didn't make headlines. So that's where I am today. We can do the weigh-in now. It's not catastrophic. I was 76.6 kilos at the end of January. I'm 76.6 kilos at the end of February. So 1 full month and no change in weight. I'm kind of relieved, to be honest, that I didn't actually gain weight, but instead just maintained. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, click the notification buttons, let other people know about the vlog, and leave a comment below. And I'll see you next week. Gros bisous. À plus.
Anywhere you go,